There are so many different self-watering options. These here from Temu are super cute and I'm enjoying them. But I want to see if I can upcycle, reuse some of the ones I bought from Dollar Tree so that they have a hole in the top so I don't have to waste so much time resetting them. Because every time I have to put more water in there, I have to pull it out, rinse it out, and all that stuff. So I want to see if I can make something like this out of what I already have and save a little bit of money. So I have been playing with this idea for a while now. I've been buying these like water globes for watering my plants. These are from the Dollar Tree. So they're $1.25, then you have to add tax. They have this tube with the opening, you push this in the soil, self-explanatory. You obviously fill it with water first, put your thumb over it, push it in the soil. Now what I've been finding with these is that it's kind of a pain in the butt because whenever they're empty, you have to pull them out, rinse this out because it will get corked up with soil. So you have to rinse it out really good and to be able to pour water back in it again. And then you have to either have a steady, thin stream of water in here, or you have to put it like into a bucket or something and submerge it and let all the air bubbles get out and then reset it, right? And I was like, that is such a pain. And I purchased some little water globes from the temu vendor, and I also had some others that people have given me. So I'll show you those as well. But I was thinking, I obviously don't want to waste the Dollar Tree water globes I have. I have some glass ones like this. Obviously I can't do this hack to those glass ones. But the first thing I did was I was thinking about it, and I went ahead and melted holes in a bunch of these. The ones that were still wet, I did not do that to, but any that were dry, I went ahead and melted a hole into them. With the melting the holes, you want to make sure you have well ventilated space and all that. Make sure that you're not breathing in that like toxic plastic stench. So I poked a hole and melted a hole. I guess you could probably try drilling, but I haven't tried that myself, so I don't know. And I mean, always do your own, use your own caution, right? Be smart. So I use this. The bigger the hole gets, the less round it is. For my soldering iron, it has a round tip, and initially the first hole is perfectly round. And I did think, if I do a small hole opening, that would work if I'm using a funnel. So I think I might in the future do some that just have a small hole that's big enough for the skinny end of a funnel, and just walk around with a funnel to fill these up, because this is kind of ugly. And then I was thinking afterwards, like, how am I going to keep bugs from drowning in these? Because with the weather getting hotter and hotter every summer, whenever I put water out, if the dish is too deep, I find a lot of dead insects, all kinds of beetles, and so forth, and it makes me sad. So I even had a really, really shallow like serving tray, and there's a bunch of dead beetles in that, and that made me sad as well. I thought, I could definitely use some lava rocks. So in the future, if I'm using a dish, I'm gonna fill it with rocks in the bottom. I think the porous kind of, I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about. They almost look like little red rocks with the tiny little holes in them, and they fill up with water really easily. I'm going to fill those trays up with that, and that way when insects land on it, they can drink water out of those tiny little holes, and then also they have something to grip onto and they're not going to drown. Of course, the water, birds and insects are probably not going to be drinking out of the same things. However, the insects will probably still go for whatever the birds are drinking out of, and they will drown in those things. I'm trying to be conscientious of small life, not just the larger living organisms, and having compassion, because on a hot day, everybody wants a drink. So the first thing I thought, this is the first one I made, okay? This was trial 1. So trial 1, I filled this with tulle. And I've been using tulle for a long time. Robbie from Robbie and Gary, they have a channel. She uses tulle a lot. She doesn't use it this way, but I do feel like I should give her a shout out because she uses lots of tulle. When I first started using tulle, I would use the size that you would get at the Dollar Tree or maybe at Hobby Lobby, that comes on a spool, a small spool. And I actually got a really good deal on some of that stuff after Christmas last year. I got like a whole thick spools of red and green tulle, and it was like 50 cents. So that was a bargain. So you might check Hobby Lobby after Christmas to see if they have tulle on those small spools, because for this project I don't really need a huge yards and yards and yards of it, and if you can get it for 50 cents or $1 on a spool, that might be the way to go. However, I did buy spools and spools of tulle because I am using it a lot. It doesn't deter squirrels from things like nuts, because that is just too enticing and the squirrels will chew right through it. But I do find that it's helpful with insects. So I'm in Washington State. Robbie and Gary are in a different climate than me. They are in a much warmer zone. So let me tell you why I think it doesn't work for me, but it does work for her in terms of keeping rodents out. Is the tulle, it feels clingy to their little fingernails for the little chipmunks and squirrels and stuff and rats and mice. It does feel clingy. I don't think that's the only reason why it doesn't work for me, but it does work for her. I'm in a different climate. It's really hot in Southern California, and yes, our summers here are hot, but we have enough daylight where it's nice and cool that our squirrels and critters, they have so much space and things to hide in, and so they can come out and take their time chewing through the tulle and making sure that there's no predators, making sure that there's no people and all that. So they can take their time, and it might be a really long time before I disturb a certain area. So I just think that they have all that time on their hands, that they figure it out. And now that my squirrels have figured it out, they're the fattest squirrels in the world. But they eat all my hazelnuts and stuff. And I'm not sure there's anything I can do that other than to do a live trap and release the squirrel somewhere else, which I'm not at that point yet. I'm thinking about maybe doing that next year, but I respect wildlife, and I buy animal feed, wildlife feed. So it's okay, well, this is kind of a more natural way to feed them. But if it's SHTF and I'm starving, I'm gonna catch and release. Actually, probably eat the squirrels. I'm just kidding. Not just kidding. But I want them to live. I want the insects to live, and so I tried this. Now, the downside here is the tulle takes up a lot of space on the inside of the globe, so I'm not going to be putting as much water in here because not as much water is going to fit. On the upside, I've been noticing it as I hold it up earlier, it holds onto the water a little bit longer, so it's going to be a slower release. So that's a good thing, but not as much water. That's a bad thing. Another bad thing is that insects could crawl inside and then get stuck and not be able to get back out again. So I'm going to try this one, but we'll see if how much I like that one. And then let's see, this was the second. Trial 2, okay. This is trial 2, and I did a couple of those. I did a couple of trial 2. Just to show you how bad the squirrels are here, I had in this hanging pot beetle leaf plant, which I bought online after watching this stuff about chewing beetle leaf and all this stuff. Bought it, and then found out that actually people who chew beetle leaf actually have higher incidence of cancer. So I'm not going to be using that for that reason. It's BETEL. I had 3 plants in here. Look at this. This is in a tree. Squirrels got in here and they ate the plants. And they've done this a couple times where they ate the foliage, and I reshifted everything. I put more soil in, and they came back and they did it again. So they're actually eating the plant. Those turds. I only did one of trial 1 because I don't think I'm going to like it. I did 2 of trial 2 because I think it might be a little bit hard to get the water in. So it looks like I've got like a tutu sticking out the side of the hole. And the idea there is that this is permeable, so I can actually water, but it's also got all these little holes, so that would make it difficult for insects to get in and drown. The downside will be trying to get water into the hole. Yes, if I'm directly putting it in, it will work. If I have a I don't want to say siphon. If I have like I just was using the word just a second ago. Brain fog. A funnel. If I have a funnel, I could put a funnel right in here and then water it in. No big deal. I think that would be probably the best way with these. I'm probably going to have to use a funnel when I water using these 2 containers here. So then I tried a 3rd trial, and I think that one's going to work the best, so I did a bunch of them. So what that looks like are these. And I know it doesn't look as stylish as the water bulbs, the glass water bulbs, and the little terracotta ones that have the hole and it's an opening. The reason why I'm doing this to begin, the first part was the hole to make it more convenient for watering. The second part, the tool part, is because I don't want to drown insects that are thirsty. I'm going to leave out water that's just for them. Actually, even just watering is good for them. If I, chop and drop leaves on the ground, water my plants, there's enough water on the leaves that the insects can get a drink. But like this completely covers the hole. Insects can't get in, but I can still have direct access to water. Downsides of all of them, is that when you melt a hole, it leaves this kind of scratchy layer. The longer you are melting it, the thicker and scratchier it becomes and the less circular. So, there's that. If I wanted to walk around with a funnel, I could skip all of this, I think, and do something like this. I think I would, if I want to walk around the yard with a funnel, I think I would do this one right here. If I don't want to have to worry about that, I think I'm going to go like this. And all I did for these, and you can tell that these are dirty, I've already used them. I didn't go and buy things to make this video. That's not something I do on my channel. I'm not buying stuff to waste money just to get likes. I'm actually thinking out, what could I possibly repurpose, revive, find another purpose for it, upcycle it, maybe like find different ways to use something, be frugal and so forth. So if you find that you bought a bunch of these and you find yourself having to hand water all the time and having to like unclog the end and rinse it out and fill it up, and that's a time hog, you might think about doing this. This was super easy. All I did, I took a big spool of this tool. I took a big handful, maybe 12, 14 inches long, and I bunched it together with my hand and just cut. And then I cut that lengthwise in half, and I just wrapped it around. So I wasn't super scientific when I was doing this, like the mock-up for it or whatever. Just kind of like thought it out what I was going to use. I didn't do any measurements or anything like that at all. So you just kind of get a feel for it. I think it was about 14 inches wide, and however it is long. And then it's doubled up, so I cut that doubled up part in half because it's like a spool, and it works. I have some other thoughts though. I am thinking how else I might make a hole that would be more perfect and not as rough. And the reason why I say that is because I have an idea on how to do this without using tool and still protecting the wildlife, all those little insects, and that is to plug the hole with a cork. And I don't drink alcohol, but I went to a yard sale recently and I bought a bunch of corks. Like, I think I got a couple quart size bags, not full, of corks for like 50 cents or $1. And I thought, if I had a more perfect size hole, I could use a little wine cork, and wouldn't that be super cute? I'm not prepared to put that into the video today, but maybe on another one, if I can figure out how to do a more perfect sized circle and use a cork, I think I would like that better than using the tool, to be honest, because then I know for sure that no insects are getting in there. And I just think corks are cute anyway, and I'm always looking for ways to use them. I think I made like a little reindeer or something like that for a Christmas ornament when I was little. And so I've always been like, if I drank alcohol, I would save all the corks. But if you go to a yard sale, something that would work. I'm also a science teacher. And so I sometimes will go online and find deals or something. So if I found a good deal for small, little tiny corks, sometimes they have little plastic ones. Or if like some of the things like I got recently from like temu have little corks, and I thought I'm not going to use it, but I actually think I might. But I would prefer the actual cork material. So yeah, I would prefer that over the black plastic. So I don't know. What do you think? Put your comments below. Did you like trial 1? Trial 2 looks like a little silly tutu. Trial 3, or do you like the idea of trying to do a more perfect circle and using a cork on the edge? I'm going to have to do a video showing me fill these up later, because the hose nozzle for my hose has gone missing, and I'm going to need to be able to direct the spray more specifically, like more like concentrated to where I want it to go. So that won't really work very well for filming today, but I just want to kind of show you what I've been thinking. Well, this is kind of like my mock-up for it. Get your ideas. If you're a crafter or you think have any idea suggestions you want me to try out, I've got a bunch more of these that I can try them with. I think I'm going to go ahead and try all the ones I have. I've got a blue one. I've got a bunch of other ones. I'm not doing this for YouTube. I'm doing this for myself. And I just thought I'd share the idea that this might be something that's helpful. And using the tool, the only reason I'm doing that again is because I don't want this to be full of insects drowning in here. So, yeah, I think I made that crystal clear. Anyhow, so here we go. I'll put those out and I'll fill them up another time. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and go back and show you some of my temu ones. And they're really nice, but honestly, I can't see inside of them, so I don't know if there's insects drowning in there. Probably, but it is kind of a terracotta. I don't think it's true terracotta, but it feels kind of like it. It probably is easier for them to grip onto that than plastic, I'm going to assume, but who knows how that looks on the inside, to be fair. However, when it's completely drained, if they can hang on for dear life, once it's, the water's already percolated down, they could crawl back out and escape. But, like that saying, like the little spider, right? The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout, down came the rain and washed the spider out. And then the spider went back up again, right? But a lot of other little critters aren't that great at climbing out and freeing themselves as spiders. I haven't seen any spiders dead in any water that I left out for birds and insects. It's all been beetles, some earwigs. I saw a few yellow jackets. I didn't see any bees, but that's just good fortune, I think. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to protect them. Am I being silly? I told you guys I wear my heart on my sleeve. I care about the little tiny insects. I don't want them to die. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas, suggestions, I know this is like a really rough mock-up of what I'm going to be doing. I really think I do want to go to using corks. I'm going to talk to my husband to see if he has a drill that could give me that perfect circle shape, because this would work really well. The melting it with the soldering iron would work really well if I'm just using a funnel to water with. But if I'm making a hole this big, as it melts further and further, it eventually starts to distort. The shape starts to distort, and it gets really thick, and pieces even break off. My family actually was saying, "What are you burning in there?" Because I was doing this in the kitchen. Back door was open and everything, but they could smell this, and they're like, "Oh, it smells horrible." So keep in mind, maybe do this outside, well ventilated space. If you choose to do it at all, maybe do one and see if you like it before you ruin all of yours. Because I went all in. I was like, I still have quite a few, but I did like 12. So I did one of this version, 2 of this one, and the rest were just wrapped around. So it is what it is. And honestly, that's the cost. The cost of all of these was a price of 3 from Temu. So I think I can cover a lot more space. I can get water into a lot more totes and into a lot more of my little containers. I really am only using these in containers. Otherwise, I am still hand watering, and I still hand water even with these. This is just a little extra babysitting for the plants that are in pots in small containers. But if it's in a large container in the ground, I am hand watering, because I would need billions of these to cover all of my garden. I am enjoying these little Temu waterers, these little globes. I like how you can pour right into it, but I worry about the insects. Now I can't see deep inside to know if anything is drowning in there. I'm going to keep using them. But I want to have if I'm using the plastic ones, I want to kind of make them so that insects can't get trapped inside. That's my hope. There's another one. I think this one looks really nice with the color scheme here. The orange. So pretty. I love that. And this looks much more attractive. Again, this is the same price for 12 of those. I only get 3 of these. But if you're trying to look fancy schmancy, you might go with these. I don't know. I'll let you know next spring and summer how long these last, because I haven't had them over winter time. And I'm not pulling things up and bringing them in. So with cold and hot weather, we'll see if they end up cracking or whatever. The plastic bulbs seem to be lasting, but I'm not sure about these. We'll check them out. And again, I will update you how mine last or don't last. You guys know what I say. Be good, be sweet, grow a garden if you want to eat. I'll see you next time. Post your comments below. What would you do differently? See you later.